Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Revati Mataji, Ranat Pranam.
Today is Dharnishri Mataji's birthday. Let's all wish her.
Sorry?
Today is Dharnishri Mataji's birthday. Let's all wish her.
Yes, most certainly. Let us wish her a very happy birthday, very happy Krishna conscious birthday. And we'll say Harinam afterwards. Yes,
Yes,
we'll do that.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Ranat Pranam.
Pranam Prabhuji, Pranam all Matajis.
Hare Krishna Sangeeta, Sugandhi Mataji, Ranat Pranam Mataji.
Yeah, Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances and Dandavat Pranam. I invite you to the early morning short Bhagavatam class organized by ISKCON Radha Govinda Temple, Kulai, Mangaluru. And indeed, I invite you for and on behalf of His Grace, Sri Ramanista Das Prabhuji. Let us begin with the prayers. Prayers are very important, and will certainly all of you will also say prayers with me, keeping the mute button on. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Picharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Desha Tarine Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Supadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Sri Yudhamadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagar Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sragan Dalita Shri Vishakharvitascha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Krupasindhubhya eva cha Patita Nama Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vishwa Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirae
Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire.
Purnatam Sukata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana
Shrunatam Sakata Krishna Punyashravana Kirtana
Pradayanta Stoya Bhadrani Viduroti Surastatam
Hridyantasto hi abhadrani विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम्
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी
भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी
Daily recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam removes all inauspicious things from our lives, and certainly prayers and worshipping the Uttama Sloka Lord Krishna, he bestows upon us the Naistiki Bhakti. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Prescribed Duties for Human Beings, Chapter number 5, Narada Muni cursed by Prajapati Daksha, verse number 15. Please raise your hands, those who want to recite the verse. We start with Madhubai Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji, Nanotala Mataji. Please go
Hare
ahead.
Krishna Prabhuji, pranams Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Tatsangabramshitaishvaryam Samsarantam Kubharyavat Tadgatir Abhudesya Kim Asat Karmabhirbhavet. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Suramya Madhvi Devi Dasiji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभुजी दंडवत प्रणाम तत्संगभ्रंशितैर्यैश्वर तत्संगभ्रंशितैश्वर्यं संसरन्तं कुभार्यवत् तद्गतिरबुधस्यैह किम असत्कर्मभिर्भवेत् हरे कृष्ण प्रभु
Thank you. Venkar Narsiha Das Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Tatsangabhramsitaisaryam samsarantam kubharyavat tadgati abhodasyeha kim asanta asatkarma bhi bhavet. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you. Madhu Soni Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम प्रभु जी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तत्संग भ्रंशितैश्वर्यं संसरन्तं कुभार्यवत् तद गतिर्बुद्धिशेह किम सत्कर्म भी भवेत् थैंक यू प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण
Thank you, Mataji. Subhara Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandot Pranam Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत प्रणाम ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तत्संग भ्रंशितेश्वर्यं संसरन्तं कुभार्यवत् तद्गतिर्बुधस्येह किमसत्कर्मभिः भवेत् हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. Pran Nandini Madhvi Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी प्रणाम प्रभु जी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तत्संग ब्रह्मसित ऐश्वर्यं संसारन्तं कुभार्यवत् तद्गतिर अबुदस्येह किम असत् कर्मभिर्भवेत् हरे कृष्ण प्रभु
Thank you, Mataji. Usha Dayavati Devi Dasiji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी प्रणाम प्रभु जी ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय तत्संग ब्रह्मस्वित् ऐश्वर्यं संसारं तं कुबेरयावत् तद्गतिरबुदेश एह किम सत्कर्मभिर्भवे थैंक यू प्रभु जी हरे कृष्ण
Hare Krishna. Revati Rangini Mataji. Revati Rattangi Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Pranam Prabhuji. Tattva Sangha Prashitam Aishwarya Sansarantam Kubaryavat Tatkadir Buddha Sehe Satka Bhavid. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Subbarao Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can you read synonyms for us?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sure, Prabhuji. Synonyms. Tat Sangha. By association with the prostitute of intelligence, Brahmsita, taken away, Aishwaryam, the opulence of independence, Samsarantam, undergoing the material way of life, Kubharyavat, exactly like a person who has a polluted wife, Tat Gatihi, the movements of the polluted intelligence, Abudasya, of one who does not know, Iha, in this world, Kimasat Karmabhihi Bhavet. What can be the benefit of performing temporary fruitive activities?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Can you hear me clearly? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji,
Yes,
sure,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Narada Muni had also spoken of a man who is the husband of the prostitute. The Haryasvas understood this as follows. If one becomes the husband of a prostitute, he loses all independence. Similarly, if a living entity has polluted intelligence, he prolongs his materialistic life. Frustrated by material nature, he must follow the movements of the intelligence, which brings various conditions of happiness and distress. If one performs fruitive activities under such conditions, what will be the benefit? Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Polluted intelligence has been compared to a prostitute. One who has not purified his intelligence is said to be controlled by the prostitute. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 2.41, Vyavasayitmika Buddhir Ekeha Kuru Nandana. Those who are actually serious are conducted by one kind of intelligence, namely intelligence in Krishna consciousness. Bahusakta hi anantascha buddhayao vyavasaya hinam. One who is not fixed in proper intelligence discovers many modes of life. Thus, involved in material activities, he is exposed to different modes of material nature and subjected to varieties of so-called happiness and distress. If a man becomes the husband of a prostitute, he cannot be happy. And similarly, one who follows the dictations of material intelligence and material consciousness will never be happy. One must judiciously understand the activities of material nature as stated in Bhagavad Gita 3.27. Subbarao Prabhuji, go ahead.
प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणैः कर्माणि सर्वशः अहंकार विमूढात्मा कर्ताहम इति मन्यते. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी.
Thank you. The bewildered spirit soul, under the influence of three modes of material nature, thinks himself to be the doer of the activities which are in actuality carried out by nature. Although one follows the dictations of material nature, he happily thinks himself the master or husband of material nature. Scientists, for example, try to be the master of material nature life after life, not caring to understand the Supreme Person under whose direction everything within this material world is moving. Trying to be the master of material nature, they are imitations. God, they are imitation gods who declare to the public that scientific advancement will one day be able to avoid the so-called control of God. In fact, however, the living being, unable to control the ruling of God, is forced to associate with the prostitute of polluted intelligence and accept various material bodies. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 13.21, Purusha Prakriti Sasto hi Bhukte Prakriti Jnana Guna Karanan Guna Sangosya Sad Asad Yoni Janmasu. The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with that material nature. Thus, he meets with God, meets with good and evil amongst various species. If one fully engages in temporary fruitive activities and does not solve the real problem, what profits will be gained? Haryasvas are the children of Prajapati Daksha, who has been ordered to produce the progeny for the planetary systems. All the Haryasvas are very obedient, very perfectly liberated human beings, and very pious people. Since they are all disciplined and determined, they are walking on the true path of Vedic injunctions. Narada Muni enters and sees them doing things, and he is very impressed. However, the purpose for which they are doing it is to create a progeny, and so Narada Muni thinks otherwise. He thinks that these people are already on the verge of liberation. They are all pious people. Why should they get entangled in the material nature? He is a good thinker. He is well-wisher of every human being. And so he parts with the knowledge of the matter and the soul. body is a matter, and we become a conditioned soul once we touch the matter or become a matter. When we are in a body, we actually are only spirit. We are eternal, we are cognizant, and we are blissful. However, once we think that no, I am the body, and if anybody asks me, I'll immediately say I am Prakash Parekh. That means I identify myself as a body. When the consciousness is at the body level or at the level of matter or material, the spiritual aspect or the spirit or the soul does not come into picture. So this material matter has to go from our consciousness to come to the level of spirit and spirituality. What has been said here in this verse is that Narada Muni explains it very well. He says that the polluted intelligence is like a prostitute. Why? Because polluted intelligence has no control, and something which has no control by the spirit but is controlled by the material nature is a prostitute. If a person is pious, person is liberated, his consciousness is in the mode of Krishna. What we call his intelligence is in Krishna consciousness. But when this intelligence is fixed in material modes, then consciousness gets fixed with the matter and starts experiencing ups and downs of the material nature. We all know and say that in material nature, the only thing constant is change. And the change is very frightening because we do not know what is going to change. Thus, happiness and distress becomes the part and parcel of the material nature. As Narad Muni explains, and Srila Prabhupada vividly tells in the purport, that husband of the prostitute cannot be happy. And thus, a person who is connected with the matter, who is always thinking about the material consciousness and material intelligence, is never going to be happy unless he comes out of the material nature and material consciousness. Happiness and distress are going to come one after the other. Unfortunately, the spirit gets bewildered with all these confusions about the matter. And under such influence of material nature, spirit starts thinking that I am the doer. Where in fact we all know that things happening in the material world are actually the activities of the material nature itself. We are not the doer. As explained in Bhagavad Gita, there are 5 doers for any action, where we become a very small, insignificant factor. Does anyone remember who are the doers? Hare Krishna. Please raise your hand. Who are the doers? There are 5 doers explained in Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna. Is anyone there?
Yes,
Hare Krishna
Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Yes, Hare Krishna,
That is
Prabhuji.
the
Nandini
Jivatma, that is Atma, and second is the various endeavors, the place of the activity, and the karma, and finally Paramatma.
Can you come again, Prabhuji?
One is our soul, second is the different endeavors,
Yes.
then the place of the activity, then
Okay.
the karma and Paramatma.
Good. So it's basically Jiva, Ishvara, and Prakriti, and then endeavors at the place. Good. So these are the 5 doers, and we are only small, insignificant one doer. And we actually, as you all know, what we call ourselves is the Nimitta Matra. But bewildered soul doesn't feel that way. And that leads to all the gap that occurs in us. The Srila Prabhupada explains in great detail about various scientists and those who call themselves intelligent science people. Each science person always is cognizant of his hierarchy and thinks that he can do everything that the God can. That's not true, and repeatedly, with all endeavors, that doesn't turn out to be true. Ultimately, the final control always remains in the hands of the God. When one realizes this hard fact at the end of the life, rather than trying to learn from it, we all fall back to the material nature, modes of material nature, and get further entangled into the material nature. And thus, we keep accepting bodies after bodies repeatedly, keep taking birth and go through the cycle of birth and death. This is all because we have a polluted intelligence. So one small thing that goes wrong produces something that we don't understand, but we spend millions and millions of births behind it and ultimately achieve nothing. If the intelligence was not polluted, we would have certainly thought about a path, an alternative path of going back to Godhead, realizing what we are, and we are a spirit. The spirit is part and parcel of the Lord, and our purpose of human life is to go back to Godhead. At least we would have started with coming to the Krishna consciousness and then gradually endeavoring to go back to Godhead. Premakishori Mataji taught us very nicely that in this material world, the problem is everything is in 3 planes. As she used to explain that past, present, future, etc., mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. They're all three. Something that is created, something that is maintained, something that is destroyed. The Lord Krishna, he is above these three planes. He is in the fourth plane of Turiya because he is abhava, he is not taking birth. Bhuta bhuta praliyate. You take birth and get destroyed. That doesn't happen with having difficulty in understanding Lord Krishna because we are still in those three planes. We are missing the fourth plane. The interface needs to be reconstructed in the form of devotional services, and then only we would be able to see, understand, or maybe a very small fraction of Lord Krishna. This gap always remains, which will have to be covered, and fortunate that we got covered by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is teaching us extensively our understanding the difference between the spirit and the matter, and understanding that though we have accepted a body, the body is temporary. Though it is attached to the material world, its attachment actually would cease at the time of death. And thus, these attachment and the body itself has nothing long-term left in it. The long-term left in anything is spirit, and thus we should concentrate on spirit, the consciousness that exists with the spirit, and that ultimately, if that consciousness at every second belongs to Lord Krishna, then you are certainly doing service to Lord Krishna. We are attempting all the processes and everything else to achieve this aim. This is one of the reasons why we are doing continuous chanting and hearing. Because these two good auspicious things around us, with the help of devotees and their mercy and the mercy of Lord Krishna, we can start with the devotional activities further in the form of Kirtana, Pada Sevana, and rest you know all the 9 typical lakshanas of devotional service. This is the only way and the surest way. Srila Prabhupada calls it the direct way. Though there are many indirect ways also, the direct way is easier, simpler, and straight way leads us to a pure faith development, ends up into a pure devotion, and leaves us with Lord to perform our services. There are indirect ways, what are known as abhasa. There is abhasa in the faith, that is known as Shraddha abhasa. There is even abhasa in the devotion. It is known as the Bhakti abhasa. They are also called semblance. So semblance in the faith, semblance in the devotion. And this semblance usually comes in three forms: semblance of karma, semblance of jnana, and semblance of yoga. They all are associated with devotion or bhakti. They successfully end into a pure bhakti or pure devotion. So remember, gaining pure faith, getting into the pure faith and developing a pure devotion is the only path which leads us to going back to Godhead. And this path is the only path which is possible in one lifetime. And Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, both of them confirms at various places in their books and scriptures that this is possible in one lifetime. However, if you take indirect paths of semblance of devotion, semblance of faith, where things are done easily or maybe called half-heartedly, then it takes more than one life because it has to go through various sequence of events. Like any indirect path will take you through Sakam Mishra Bhakti, Nishkam Mishra Bhakti, then it leads you to Gyan Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Mishra Bhakti, and then pure Bhakti. But this pure Bhakti only enters in if you have used Bhakti Yoga at any stage and without the help of Vaishnavas or pure devotees. This Bhakti Yoga is not possible. And thus, primary Lata growing from Bhakti Lata Bij is a very important one. That is the pure faith that erupts out of it and grows into a pure devotion. When all other weeds are nothing but semblance, and unless the bhakti is added to it, it never fructifies. Remember that detachment or renouncement and knowledge can never be the part of bhakti only. It certainly doesn't produce bhakti. So it is the faith which is the primary and the most important part that leads us on the path of spirituality. And that's why faith, and the only faith which is pure, leads you to pure devotion. So keeping a pure faith is very important. What is pure faith? Pure faith is pure love and love bhava or rati to the Lord. These only comes when you have no material desire in your mind, no material attachment in your consciousness, and no material hankering left in you. Unless these three things are solidly done, till the word material is somewhere in some corner of the consciousness, it doesn't take you to pure faith and pure devotion. This is very, very important. The semblance of faith and semblance of devotion doesn't lead you to the destination where we want to go back to Godhead. The Narada Muni very nicely explains about the material world and about the matter in a way which is different than the other ways elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam. And last 7 or 8 slokas, we have been going through it, and they are all worth going through again. They're wonderfully depicted, with quite contrary to the thinking that we all possess. Any question, any revelation, any commentary, any doubts, any addition? Quite nicely explaining in detail about the material world to Harsha Vasa, Vas, the sons of Prajapati Daksha. Hare Krishna Prabhuji's Mataji's. Any question? Any commentary? If there are no other questions or commentary, I would like to end here that I have a Gujarati class soon after this. So we'll take the Krishna book tomorrow. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna to everyone. Hare Koti Vishnu ki jai. Hare Krishna to all.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare
हाँ,
Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा
Thank you.
प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद धन्यवाद।
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram.